Well, it hasn't been fun being an Argyle supporter on the road this season. Winless, on a run of 5 straight losses and only 3 goals to cheer. However, it is a new year, it's a fresh start, and there's even a little optimism that today at Stoke there could be a change of fortunes. Well, there was an improvement on New Year's Day, but the gap at the bottom of the table is beginning to widen. Argyle 4 points from safety to take on a Stoke side. Also, after a bit of a resurgence, they've turned the corner of late and have a new man in the dugout as well this afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. I am Charlie Price, and even though we are pretty much halfway through the season, this game does feel like it has some importance to it. January is going to be an important month for Argyle as well. A new manager to look for, players potentially to bring in, and of course, points to be secured. This is the first away game of 2025. They haven't won for almost 112 years at Stoke City. So that has to change soon. Why won't it be today? Well, there's lots to get through before kickoff, which is at 12:30 in just under half an hour's time. We've got team news to bring you in just a moment, plus all the build-up and voices from inside both camps, including from Stoke City's brand new manager, Mark Robins, who's in charge for the first time today. But just a little signpost that if you haven't already, you can get your match passes online right now. If you are in the UK, then audio match passes will cost you £2.50. If you're an international viewer, then £10 is what it will cost you to stream the game live. All of the details can be found on our website, pafc.co.uk. Let's get into it then. Joining me for this afternoon's game is Katie Middleton, former Argyle women's captain. It does feel important today, doesn't it? I mean, all of them have felt important for such a long time, but today again.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity today to go and maybe put right the wrongs of pretty much every away game we've had so far this season. So, maybe awkward because of the new, obviously, managerial appointment at Stoke. It makes things maybe a little bit unknown as to how they might set up and how they might play today. But I think, off the back of a relatively good performance at home on New Year's Day, do we take that confidence in and can we build on that and try to get those elusive first 3 points on the road?
Is it probably the worst time we could have played Stoke? I mean, they've actually done quite well in their last 2 matches. They've got a draw and a win against Sunderland and Burnley as well, of all teams. But there's something about playing against a side when the new gaffer's in charge, isn't there?
Yeah, and players tend to get a lift, don't they? And they're you're trying to almost sort of play for your shirt and prove a point in front of a new manager. So you expect Stoke to be up for it today and like I say, want to go out there and show what they're all about. So probably not ideal timing, and as you said, off the back of a couple of really good results for them. But then kind of when you look at it over a more long-term period, we're pretty similar in terms of where we're at over the last 10 or 11 games. It's 1 win for us, 1 win for them. So, they're not a million miles ahead of us. But have they now got that extra little bit of stability with having the manager in? And does that change things and put them on the front foot a little bit today? Time will tell.
It will, of course. And the good thing from Argyle's point of view is, despite, Stoke having a little upturn in results, you could argue we did too, although it's a smaller sample size. That performance on New Year's Day was better, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think just showed a little bit more attacking intent again. And yes, at times we were open and, you look at the 2 goals we conceded and say, they played through us too easily, which, yes, they did. But we created much more. We had much more shots on goal, which is what the fans want to see. And I think the away performances, that's what's been lacking, has been that attacking intent. So if we can go away and, like I say, take New Year's Day performance into today and
transfer a home performance into an away performance.
Exactly that, yeah. And, we haven't been very good when we've gone away and we've sat in and we've tried to defend. So let's try and do something different and go away and try and play on the front foot and, like I say, play a bit more attacking football and, try and get the likes of Morgan Whittaker and Rami Al-Hajj on the ball again in those dangerous areas where they caused Bristol City problems a few days ago. So, it's about creating those moments in the game, and then when we do create them, can we be ruthless and can we take those opportunities?
Yeah. Well, as mentioned at the very start, it's been a while since Argyle have won on the road. You've got to go back to April last season. It's been a while since they've won at Stoke. Back in 1903 was the last time we won in the Potteries. So that needs to change. But who are the players that have been selected for the game? Well, we saw him just a moment ago. Morgan Whittaker makes his 100th appearance for Argyle today. He's been such a hit since he's arrived at the club 2 seasons ago with those 2 separate spells. It's his 3rd successive start as well after that toe injury, which is good news. And we saw him almost back to his best on New Year's Day. One change made as well by Kevin Nanscott and Joe Edwards. That sees Michael Obafemi come in for Ryan Hardy, who went off in that game with a shoulder problem. So it's pretty much like for like from what we saw, Katie, against Bristol City a few days ago. That only change being up front, which is enforced. And I suppose considering the performance, that's understandable, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think considering the players available to the management team at the moment, you'd probably say that's maybe the best 11 we can put out. Obviously, Sissoko's coming back to fitness, so he's potentially maybe the only person that you'd think might go in there as a starting player with who we've got available at the moment. So, like I said, the performance was good a couple of days ago. So, why change it? Let's stick to what we did well and try and replicate that.
We saw it on Argyle Breakfast this morning, so you can actually go back and watch that. Not right now, we'll do it after the game. A chat with Morgan Whittaker, and there will be a full version of that coming out tomorrow as well, because today is a landmark game for him. And we know every Argyle fan doesn't need reminding what Morgan Whittaker can do and what he's all about. We've not seen him at his best this season at all, just the 3 goals. But there was something in that performance on New Year's Day, I thought, where you just kind of thought, okay, that he's sort of looking back to the player that started last season. There was a hunger and energy about him.
Yeah, and I don't know whether, obviously, that enforced rest with the injury, maybe that's just given him that little bit of time he needed to sort of get himself back into where he wants to be. And, it gives you time to sort of switch off from the game a little bit. And then when you come back, you've got that hunger again to go and show what you're all about. And Morgan will say himself that he hasn't hit the heights of, where he's been previously when he's played here. So I think it's difficult because there's an expectation from the fans that he constantly scores goals and he's assisting every game. And that's not realistic. And, players will have these moments where they have these dips in form and confidence. And Morgan is very much one of those players who's a confidence player, and if he can get himself a couple of goals, a couple of assists, then I think we'll start to see him get back to what he's good at. Do
you think that is it? That it would just take one of those long ranges to fly into the top corner, for example, and it's almost like a belief
I think so,
again.
But it's got to come from players around him as well. It can't all be him. Everybody knows that Morgan Whittaker is one of Plymouth Argyle's most attacking players, the biggest threat. So, teams start to double up on him. So it's about the players around him who can, create space for him. Can they make those unselfish runs off the ball to give him that time and to get him in those areas, 20, 25 yards out where he can cut in on his left foot and, unleash these shots into the top corner and stuff, which we've seen him do before. So, it's about, I guess, taking the pressure off of him and getting the other players to sort of pull their weight a little bit and create those opportunities for him to shine and do what he does best.
Now, an area we're a little bit short today and have been for a while is through the middle up at the top end of the field. Ryan Hardy not involved today because of that shoulder issue he came off in the last game with. Obafemi comes in. We saw Andre Gray leave the club yesterday, one of 2 players, Lewis Gibson also going out. So we're looking light there at the moment. So those players like Morgan, like Al-Hajj, even Barley Mumba has yet to score this season. You'll be looking at those as well as, won't you? Of just, let's have some more contributions from you. Yeah,
and I think even, the likes of JB, who's finally got a goal, Adam Randall from slightly deeper. The best teams who are doing well have goals that come from all over the pitch. It's been well documented that our goal scoring from set pieces hasn't been very good at all. So, those areas that actually, if you start to contribute from there as well, again, it takes the pressure off the strikers constantly having to deliver. And when you're so short on bodies, which we are currently, and Michael Obafemi is probably the only fit striker at the moment, you know, we've got to have people who are contributing from other areas. So, yeah, can you create the spaces for Al Hadj? Can you create the spaces for Morgan Whittaker? You know, it's important that Mati Sornola down one side and Bali Mumba down the other side are being kind of front-footed and trying to get forwards as much as they can and create opportunities. You know, Obafemi's a different kind of player to Ryan Hardy. Ryan Hardy will do lots of running in behind. Obafemi likes to link things a little bit more and hold the ball up. So it's about getting runners behind him today and seeing what we can create from that.
Mm-hmm. Right, let's have a look at the Stoke side then. They, as we mentioned, have hit a nice little run of form. They went through a disastrous patch, really, before Narcissus Pelak was sacked, and Ryan Shawcross sort of steadied the ship before Mark Robbins came in. So this is his first starting lineup since becoming manager. He's made one change as well to the side that drew 0-0 at Burnley. Sees a former Argyle youngster, Sam Gallagher, come into the side, with Wouter Berger dropping to the bench. You'd argue probably, Katie, a bit of a change of formation with Gallagher coming in. Not entirely sure how they do play. He has been used in that slightly deeper role than we're used to seeing him through the middle. But when you've got a player like Tom Cannon, the form he's in, 9 goals this season, you probably want to build your side around him, don't you?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see whether Gallagher drops in and plays a little bit deeper, maybe more as a 10, or whether they go all out attack and go 2 up top with Gallagher and Cannon playing together. But like you say, Cannon's a very good player, scored plenty of goals this season, and you know, we spoke about him on Argyle Breakfast this morning, but he's a threat and he can kind of go both ways. He likes to drag the centre-halves out of positions, and you know, maybe against a back three that's slightly more tricky for him today. But you know, you can see from the clips here the quality of his finishing. You know, he's a right-footed player, but he scores some really good goals off his left side as well. So you know, it's trying to cut out the opportunities for him today is going to be key for Argyle, and not allowing him any space to create moments like this in the game.
He is. I find him an interesting player because it's been known about for a while the ability that he's got, and he had a loan spell at Preston a couple of seasons ago where he scored quite a few goals, went back into the Leicester side, but never featured too much in the Championship last season. He got that, it was a big money move, and he kind of didn't find himself playing that often. Jamie Vardy was in front of him, you know, Patson Daka was in front of him, so it's difficult. But he clearly is a quality Championship striker, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely, and you know, we've shown clips of him scoring lots of goals, and essentially that's what he's there for. That's his job, is to stick the ball in the back of the net. And if he's doing that more often than not, then you know, other teams are gonna, you know, probably be sniffing around him and seeing what it's all about. You know, you don't get a big money move to, you know, Premier League sides without being a decent player and having that ability to score goals. So you know, they obviously see something in him. He wants to prove a point that he can play at a Premiership level. So yeah, plenty of quality there, and like I say, someone will have to keep close tabs on today. Yeah,
just very quickly at the other end of the field, Victor Johansson has made the most saves out of any goalkeeper this season, and he is one of the best in the Championship as well. So it's going to take a lot to get past him, but at both ends of the field they have star players. It's a quandary why they are where they are in the league, isn't it, really, when you look at their team?
Yeah, and I think it's one of those with the keepers, isn't it, when they're making lots of saves.
Yeah. Is it a good thing?
Is that it's a good thing for him, but is it a good thing for the team? Because they're obviously kind of, you know, teams are creating lots of opportunities and chances, but you know, like I said, today is going to be really important if we are to score and get anything from the game, that we're really clinical in front of goal. And when you've got a keeper who's as good as Johansson is, you know, we're going to have to be at the top of our game in terms of finishing to make these things count in the game and like I say, try and get some points out of it.
Yeah, that is the main goal. It is the main goal that Kevin Nanscall and Joe Edwards will be wanting as well. They picked up a point on New Year's Day, their first game in charge. Obviously, it was an improved performance than what we had seen over the Christmas period. And I sat down with Kevin Nanscall a couple of days ago to talk about how he is feeling ahead of this one. What's the last 24 hours been like, and what's the next 24 hours going to look like?
Well, obviously the game went reasonably well. We're delighted to get a point. I thought the lads were were brilliant. I was really, really proud of them. They gave everything they got. So straight after the game, you're recovering, you're reviewing, and you're preparing, really. So we've been in this morning looking at Stoke. We're going to train now this afternoon. And then back in tomorrow morning to train and head up to Stoke.
Yeah, it was almost like a classic Argyle game yesterday, I suppose. We've seen so many of those last-minute equalisers, winners, what have you, over the last 4 or 5 years. What was it in particular that you did like about what you saw?
There was a lot I liked. I thought we started off the game really well. They implemented the plan that me and Joey asked them to play to. Created lots of chances. We had some shots at goal. We put some crosses in the box, and we were on the front foot. Then on the flip side of that, we showed a little bit of character and desire when it needed it, and that spirit that Argyle's all about shone through twice to get equalisers to different occasions. And as has come accustomed now, we get an injury time goal at Devonport end. So couldn't ask any more of the lads. Was really, really pleased. Icing on a cake would have been another goal right at the end, but we won't be greedy. We'll take a point and then we'll go on.
Yeah. So what's the messaging going into Stoke? They've got a new manager in now. Mark Robbins has gone in there. So how does that affect kind of how you look ahead to the game? Yeah,
it's difficult because obviously a new manager comes in and might have his own ideas and want to change players, change systems, etc. So that's the challenge for our analysis lads to get their heads around and then feed back to us. But listen, Stoke have got some good players. It's a big football club, so any game in the Championship is a real challenge, and we'll be facing it head on Saturday.
It's the 5th time he's done this. Stepped in as caretaker, interim, whatever you want to call it. He's doing it alongside Joe Edwards, as we know. And if anything, just during a sort of unsettling period, it's surely quite nice, I imagine, for the players to have 2 people who just bleed the club and have that little infectious energy about them, because that's what you want now, isn't it? There's no real stability, so it's just about trying to have some sort of continuity from what you're used to, I suppose.
Yeah, and just galvanising everyone, isn't it? That's the key thing. And Nance, like you said, bleeds green, doesn't he? He's kind of the heart and soul of the club currently. So he's the perfect person, I guess, to have, who just comes in and says, right, let's just go out, give it all you've got, and that's all we expect of you at the minute, is to just go out there and show us, leave everything out on the pitch. Sorinola on Wednesday could barely walk by the end. That's the effort that he wants to see from everyone. And if everyone can do that and they can pull their weight, then things will happen. You won't necessarily play the best, but you can make things happen by working hard. And I think both Nance and Joe, that's how he plays. He's all out and, just full heart and goes for it. So that's what they will be trying to get out of these players over the next few games until we get a new manager in and like I say, get that bit of stability back.
It is so kind of annoyingly timed, I suppose, this whole situation, because of the situation we are in, but also that it's the January transfer window. We've seen 2 players go out, in Lewis Gibson and Andre Gray. We have seen one come in Michael Baidoo, which was one I think that I think everybody knows it was in the pipeline for a long time. But it's so crucial, this window, isn't it? Yeah,
it's massive, and particularly with the injury problems that we've had so far this season, the squad is kind of threadbare probably at the moment, and we've spoken about it before, but the same players are having to play game after game after game, and do you pick up more injuries because they're doing that, and then you get stuck in this cycle. So we need to strengthen. Everybody knows we need to strengthen, but do you want to be signing players when you haven't got a manager? It's often the managers who bring in who they want to bring in. So it's a really tricky time, and I guess it's why it's crucial that we get somebody in as quickly as we can while there's still enough time in the window to make those signings and progress the team forwards and build the squad that we need to keep challenging in the Championship.
Yeah, just to mark your card as well, at half-time during today's game we'll be playing an interview with our new signing Michael Baidoo, so make sure you stick around during half-time. Going to get your cup of tea very quick and then come back and watch that chat. Let's head into the other dugout. Now there's a lot of experience on the opposite side in the Stoke technical area, because Mark Robbins is one of the best at this level. He spent 8 years at Coventry before being relieved of his duties just a couple of months ago, but he was quick to come back and do it all again at Stoke.
when you watch the team against Burnley and when you look at the result that they got against Sunderland in the previous match as well, did that give you a lot of optimism? Because you might have come in here thinking this is a club low on confidence, struggling towards the wrong end of the table. But actually, when you saw them, you could see what there was to work with.
Well, I don't think it takes confidence to run around. You know, that is a prerequisite. You run around, you have a real go, and the other bits and pieces follow. If you've got information you want to give to players, I always said at Coventry, we always tried to give them a lot of information for them to decipher. You've got to weigh up when that time's right to be able to do it, and we'll do that as well. But we'll drip feed things in if they can perform as they have done over the last couple of games, and continue to do that. It makes us competitive. It will make us competitive in a really tough environment.
And you know what the atmosphere can be like at this stadium. What do you need from those supporters this weekend with a very winnable game against Plymouth?
So just support for the team. They're brilliant supporters anyway, and they will be clearly. A lot of supporters will remember the Premier League days, UEFA Cup days, that type of thing. I was here when they played Besiktas as well, so I remember that atmosphere and what the club's capable of doing. But we have to remain feet on the floor. We have to not make any bold predictions that this will happen, this is going to happen. We've got to make sure that we do things in the right way to build that platform, build that base, and grow the club again. The interest from the supporters has been fantastic. I've got to say Ryan Shawcross has done a brilliant job, and the staff for the last 2 games, because watching that, that was an eye opener for me, because if the players can do that and they're willing to do that and put that shift in, you can really achieve anything, and that has got to be the foundation for what comes next.
Seems like a really positive and good appointment that for Stoke, a side that's been in chaos for quite a few years, and you've got someone there who knows this league inside out, doesn't it?
Yeah, fantastic appointment for them, and like we said, bad timing for us that he's come in just before the game today. But a player who's obviously got fantastic experience at this level will offer them stability. He's not someone who'll likely jump ship. He was at Coventry, like you said, for 7 or 8 years, and has left them in a better place than he took over, and that's exactly what they'll be looking to do at Stoke as well, to try and push the team up. Like I said, they've been in a bit of turmoil recently and had a lot of managerial change, but I think he is definitely someone who'll bring that bit of stability and a bit of class about them. So hopefully that doesn't start today. That can wait till next weekend.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, Katie, that's it. Us done for our pre-match show. It's flown by. We'll be back, of course, at half-time with that chat with Michael Baidoo, but commentary is where we're heading to next. If you haven't got your match passes, head to our website right now. Audio and video are available for you, pafc.co.uk. Joel Grant and Nathan Olben are standing by for commentary, and it is Argyle against Stoke up next.